Hey guys, it's Melanie. Happy Tuesday. Today we are going to be talking about a brand new powder foundation from Urban Decay. This is the new Urban Decay Stay Naked The Fix Longwear Vegan Formula Real Skin Matte Finish with Moringa Seed Extract Foundation. That's a mouthful, right? Okay, so if you are new to my channel, you are not aware of the fact that I love powder foundation. I have not worn liquid foundation in years. I mean, it has been more than a decade since I have worn liquid foundation. I think there were a couple times where I tested a few out and was like, no, this is not the life for me. I am 41 years old, but I still have the oil production of like a 17-year-old boy. This face cranks out oil like it's going out of style. And liquid foundation just doesn't work with that. I know there are a lot of people who have oily skin who can make a liquid foundation work for them. And I've certainly received lots of suggestions from you guys about different formulas. And I've gotten samples at Sephora and tested them out. It's not for me. Now, every powder foundation that I try, I always end up comparing to my personal holy grail, which is, you know it's coming. It's the Laura Geller Balance and Brighten. And the reason that I still test out other powder foundations, even though I absolutely live for this one, is that Laura Geller is, she's not available in a lot of places anymore. So I'm always afraid that her company is going to go away. I know that the parent company that she was under ended up going bankrupt, but Laura Geller was purchased by another parent company. So she's still around as of right now. I can still get Balance and Brighten, but I'm always on the hunt for a potential replacement. There are some other powder foundations that I also really love. The Alima Pressed Powder Foundation is wonderful. The Wander Beauty Powder Foundation is really great. So there's a couple of options for me should the need arise. However, I always end up going back to the Balance and Brighten because it just looks so beautiful on my skin. So when I saw Urban Decay came out with this new foundation, I was like, ooh, I'm kind of intrigued because this claims to have a 16-hour wear, and the sponge is charcoal infused. Now, in all honesty, I have not used the sponge. It's a very nice sponge, but I don't like the way that powder foundation looks when it's put on with a sponge, especially a powder foundation that is more matte, which is what this is. This has a very matte finish to it. By the way, if you guys like my eye look here, stay tuned for tomorrow because there is a perfect neutral eye tutorial that I recorded right before this video. So if you want to know about this eye look, that'll be out tomorrow. But let's talk a little bit about the packaging and then I'll get into the claims and what my experience is and all that stuff. Based on the pictures on the Ulta website when this first came out, I was like, oh, that's really nice luxe packaging. It's pretty cheap. It feels very cheap once you get your hands on it, which is fine. This doesn't have to have outstanding packaging. The kind of mirrored UD here is raised up. I feel like it's fairly travel friendly, but it's a little bulky. It's a little thick. Now, this does have 24 shades. And they are either golden or peachy undertone, neutral undertone. So I feel like most people should be able to find a shade that works for them. They do have, I guess, an okay selection of darker skin tones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different options for darker skin tones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for a medium skin tone, and then light medium 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 it looks like, and then the lights are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 light, and then even 3 fair options. So I feel like they spread that out generously enough. Whether you have a golden or kind of more neutral or pinky undertone, you should be able to find something that works for you. The option that I went with was 30YW, and that claims to be a light warm with a golden undertone. So I went in store and bought this, and at first when I saw it, I was like, well, it's really light. Like it is light. And I'm very fair. Like if you guys look at like I'm very fair, but this for whatever reason just looked very light in the pan, and I was nervous, but I stuck with it because I was like, the next shade up, would have been 40YW, which was a light medium warm with a golden undertone, and that was too dark. So I always err on the lighter side because I figure I can warm it up if I need to. But here's the thing. Once this is on my face and it has a chance to, I guess, settle or sit for like an hour, this is a perfect match. Like I have never had a more perfectly matched color in a powder foundation other than this. Like it is my skin color. Once it sits, when I first put it on, it looks a little pasty, but once my oils start to come through, it oxidizes ever so slightly. So if you're kind of in between two colors, I would say go with the lighter one, and you know, obviously give it some time to settle into your skin. I bet once it oxidizes, it'll be your perfect color. Just make sure you're using the right or selecting the right undertone for your skin. So figure out whether you have yellow undertones or pink undertones, or if you're more neutral, kind of in between the two. Select the right undertone and go with what you're probably gonna think is too light. I guarantee you it will oxidize a little bit. So the amount of product that you're getting here, by the way, is 6 grams. Seems like a fair amount of powder. This is expensive though, you guys. This was an expensive powder foundation. This was $39, so almost 40 bucks. So the claims are that this is a powder foundation with a weightless vegan long wear formulation. So this says it is buildable medium coverage with a real skin matte finish that lasts up to 16 hours. And I have been putting this up to the test. So let's see, this formula features a medium buildable coverage and a real skin matte finish that doesn't transfer. The silky breathable formula is water and sweat resistant with moringa seed for anti-pollution and anti-aging benefits. It includes a charcoal infused sponge to detoxify and mattify the skin with every application. Now the reviews for this are very good so far. So people are saying my skin but better, long lasting, blends well, great, goes on great. Great versatile powder, perfect coverage for me, nice product, lightweight. Yeah, so people are loving it. It has, what is this, like 4.5 stars? That's pretty good, and 319 reviews. So the bulk of the people picking this up are really enjoying it. And here's the thing. So let's get into my thoughts about this. I do think that this is a very good powder foundation. Now, this is a very matte powder foundation. And here's the thing. As much as I try to cover up my oily skin with products that absorb oil and all that jazz, I do like a slight luminous, not shimmery, just luminous glow to my skin. And that is why I have always loved the Balance and Brighten. This, just for whatever reason, gives my skin that little bit of a glow that makes my skin look very healthy. This makes my skin very, very matte. I feel like this is going to be a much better fit for me during the summer months, because that is the time of year when I very much am looking for additional mattification. Is that a word, mattification? It is now. As the weather warms up, my oil production does as well. It ramps up along with the heat. And I do find that I need a slightly more matte formula, or I like to use a more matte finishing powder during the summer months. For me, this is just a little bit too matte for this time of year. I still prefer that kind of luminous finish. So the way that I've been using this is I've actually been putting this on first, so a really nice layer, but not with a sponge, because I don't like a heavy coverage. And if you're going to use a sponge, you are going to have a more medium to full buildable coverage. So if that's what you're looking for, totally. But also know that when you do that with a powder foundation, any texture that you have on your skin is going to be made more visible. It's just gonna look more obvious. So if you are kind of flaky or dry, or you have some rough looking pores that you're dealing with, I would really recommend using a brush. And the two brushes that I have used that give me varying amounts of coverage are the Milani, this is the powder bronzer brush. So this has a little bit more give in the bristles. You can see they're not quite as dense. And then my beloved It Foundation Heavenly Skin Bye Bye Pores powder brush. This is number 701. I'll link these down below for you as well. This is much more dense. So you can see this is gonna pick up more product and deposit more product onto the skin. This is going to diffuse it onto the skin a little bit more. For this powder, I do prefer a more diffused looking brush finish. Does that make sense? My words are not coming out in the order that I really want them to today, but I'm hoping that you guys are able to take away what I'm trying to say about this product. So yes, you can make a pretty heavy coverage finish out of this if you're using the sponge. But you can also make it go on a lot lighter if you're not looking for a ton of coverage. And I'm lucky in that my skincare is really working for me and I don't have a lot to cover up. Really, the main reason that I use a powder foundation is just to slightly even things out a little bit more, because I can deal with just a little bit of redness, but also to help absorb excess oil throughout the day. And this does that beautifully. I've worn this to the gym. It is totally sweat resistant. This stayed put on my face during my cardio workout. I typically do like an hour on the treadmill, usually walking between 3.8 and 4 miles an hour, and I use the incline. So I work up a decent little sweat, and then I will also do 10 to 15 minutes on the stairs afterwards. And yeah, the stairs make me sweat a lot more, even though that's just for like 10 or 15 minutes, but it stays put. It stays put on my face. When I remove it at night, I definitely have to work the makeup melting balm into my face a little bit more, because it takes a little bit more to break this up. It definitely sticks to the skin and it doesn't want to go anywhere. Now, does it keep me matte all day? Yeah, but I think that also has to do with the fact that currently I am testing out the Paula's Choice 20% niacinamide, and I find that that is controlling my oils so well. I'm sure this is pretty good. If it can deal with like the sweat, I feel like it could definitely deal with the oil as well if my oil production was at its usual rate. But this is good, you guys. I feel like this review is not coming off in a super positive way, but this is a good product. I do actually see myself repurchasing this. However, I do have to say that my preferred method of applying this is to definitely use it in conjunction with my Balance and Brighten, so kind of doing a mix between the two, because I do like that little bit of a luminous finish to my skin. I don't want it to look completely matte. The older I get, the more I appreciate a more luminous look to the skin. I think it's a lot less harsh. I think it just looks prettier. But if you're younger and you want a really matte look, this is gonna give this to you. So if you are an oily beast like me, this is definitely going to help to control the oils. So overall, I would say 1 and like a half thumbs up for me. Enough to repurchase it, but I do wish there was just a tiny bit of luminosity to this, because it's just very matte. It is very matte. So that being said, I like it. I think it's a little overpriced for what it is, especially given the kind of cheap packaging, but there is a good color range. There's warms, there's cools, there's neutral undertones. It's available in store, so if you need to go color match yourself there, you can do that. It is not an online exclusive, and I think it's a fair amount of product. 6 grams is quite a bit. You can see the amount or how big the pan is right there. I feel like it's a fair amount. The Laura Geller is 9 grams, so that's a little bit more, but this is also a baked product, so it's domed. This is not. I don't know. Are you interested in trying this? Are you planning on picking it up? Have you picked it up? What are your thoughts? How do you think the color match was for you? I'm also curious about that. Yeah, so there you guys go. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm enjoying it. I will continue to use it. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions at all down below in the comments. If the video is up for this eyeshadow tutorial, I will link that in the description box. I will link this down below for you, and I believe those are all the things that I needed to address at the end of the video. Please subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.